Hello, hello everybody. I hope you're having a great day. This is Melissa from stampwithmelissa.com here, and today I'm so excited to share this super awesome card with you. I am doing another Case the Catalog, so part of my little series that I do every now and then is casing a card from the catalog, and this one I came across recently and I just fell in love with it. So I want to show that to you. So it's on page 17 of the new annual catalog, and you can see it's this card right here. Now mine looks a little bit different than the card here, right? This one's got 5 clouds, mine has 4, it's got 4 trees, mine has 3, etc., etc. And even the card I'm going to make on camera today is going to look even a little bit different than this one. But that's what casing is. So casing, C-A-S-E and then I-N-G, stands for copy and selectively edit, or copy and share everything. So if you're copying, or if you find inspiration somewhere and you do the card exactly how it was, you're casing it essentially. So I am casing the designer who did this one. I don't know which designer it was, otherwise I would give them name credit, but I thought this would be super fun. So this card uses both the Mountain Air bundle and the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. Now we use that sentiment, so if you don't have this Celebrate Sunflowers sentiment, or I'm sorry, the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp, which by the way, why not? It's an awesome stamp set, but if you don't have it, you can swap out the sentiment for anything. But the trees, clouds, moon, birds, they all come from Mountain Air. So you can actually see in here, we use everything except this line of trees and the mountains there, but we use those trees, the birds, the cloud, the moon. And we even use some of the dies. We'll use those 3 dies right there. So I want to share with you today how to make this cute card because it's got a bit of a cool technique there. You can see that it's kind of stamped through. And I have something cool I want to try with this second card I'm going to make. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Alright, so I slid that off to the side there. We'll kind of keep it in the frame as much as we can to just look at our progress as we go. And then I'm going to bring in the cardstock pieces. Now all of the measurements can be found on my blog. The link to my blog post is down in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. It'll have measurements, pictures, and products used. The products I used today are also available down in the description box below, so if you're in need of anything, you can go ahead and just click on that link. It'll take you right over to my online store. And I thank you so much in advance for your business. I really appreciate it. So we are using a whole bunch of basic white today. So we've got a basic white card base here. This is the thick cardstock. Then these are the regular, and these are the same measurements. And off the top of my head, let's see, it is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Both of these pieces measure the same because, as you can see, we'll do the die cuts out of one and stamp on the other. And we want that to be seamless so it all looks good together. So I'm going to move a few of these pieces to the side and we're going to go ahead and start die cutting. Okay, so I had to move the card out of the view just for now because I need the space for my big ol' Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And we're going to go ahead and start die cutting. So as I mentioned before, we're using some of the dies, whoops, and then I dropped one. We're using some of the dies from the Majestic Mountains die set. So we are using these smaller trees here. So there's a single and a double, and then we're also going to use the cloud. So I am going to go ahead and start by just kind of lining this up at the bottom. Now there's no rhyme or reason, and again, like I said, the card that I have as my sample is going to look a little bit different than I do this one because I want this one to kind of resemble the sample card a little bit more. So we are going to do our best. So I'm going to run this through, and then you'll see I'm just going to continue running the trees on the bottom and the clouds up above, and I'll speed that part up for you. So here we go. Okay, so here you can see that all the die cutting is done. So we went from this to this. Pretty big difference there, huh? Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some blending on this piece. So I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. And I have got my Pool Party ink and a light blue blending brush. I do not have a blending brush for every single Stampin' Up! Color because I just don't have the storage for 50 brushes. But I do like to keep them in their general color family. So I have like a dark blue one, a light blue one, green, red, orange, etc., etc. So I am just using the blending brush and I'm starting off like on my grid paper here and then just kind of taking that color and inking it on. I'm being a little bit careful because there's so many die cuts in here that I don't want to like bend the paper. You could also totally sponge before you do any of the die cutting. I didn't, and the reason I didn't is because a couple of these clouds I want to use later, and I don't want them to be pool party color. So, and I could spin it over and use the other side, but the stamp lines up this way, so I just went ahead and did all of the die cutting first. So super, super fun. You guys will have to tell me in the comments. So this is not actually a mountain card because we don't have any mountains here, but the stamp set it does have mountain in the name. So you'll have to tell me, have you ever seen the mountains and where? I saw the Porcupine Mountains, which are in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, a couple of years ago. Some friends and I went on a road trip up there. So we live in central Minnesota in the Twin Cities. And so we drove, it was about, I think, 5.5 hours. And we drove through northern Wisconsin into Michigan and saw the Porcupine Mountains, and they were beautiful. So we camped there for a couple of days. We had no cell reception. It was actually kind of nice. No cell reception, stayed in a tent. Just me and 3 of my buddies, so that was super, super fun. Okay, so now we are going to mount these pieces together, but before I do that, because on my, let me pull my sample card back in. So on my sample card, I just glued it directly down, but I think I want to add dimensionals between these 2 layers instead of that layer and the card base. And so I'm going to just set it here, and I'm going to do all of my stamping, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in I'm losing my train of thought. Then I'm going to go ahead and put it all together. So I'm just lining this up here, and it's okay if it moves a little bit. It's not a huge deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the clouds. And again, we are going to use Pool Party. And I'm just going to ink the clouds up, and I'm going to put my finger down to hold that. Now, the nice thing is that these are photopolymer stamps, so you can see exactly where they're going. It's a little bit hard from where I am because I don't want to get my head too much in the camera's view. So I am doing my best. So there are the clouds, and then we'll go ahead and do the trees. And the reason I did the clouds and the trees first are because those are the ones that have to line up with the die cuts. The birds and the moon get to just go on the page itself. So again, I'll hold this down, and I started with the double trees. Oops, you can see I missed a spot, so these are photopolymer, so I'm going to try to do it again. There we go. And I am stamping these trees in Evening Evergreen, which is one of our new in colors, and it is a stunning color. It is so beautiful, and you know, they put evergreen right in the name, but really it is great for trees. All right, so now I'm doing the single tree. That would have been bad if that fell, huh? A crafting mishap, but it was avoided, so. All right, so there's those cute trees. And then I'm gonna go ahead, and I don't really need this to sit here anymore, so I'll just separate that really fast. And I will do, well, actually, let's do the moon first so we can get him in place. So for the moon, I'm using Pale Papaya, which is another one of our new in colors. And it is a beautiful color. So I just stamped that right in that upper right corner. And then we will bring in the birds and our black ink. You could also use StazOn for this if you so chose. So we're just gonna kind of scatter some birds around. I'm following my original card a little bit, but it doesn't really matter because they'll just fly wherever. And then I do want some birds over here, I think. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and get this mounted. And this is going to be a little bit tricky, but it'll be good. So I'm gonna bring in my dimensionals, and you can see I'm using up a sheet here. So I'm just gonna snip these all to be singular for now. And I'm gonna place them all around, but not covering the die cuts. I just wanna make sure that there's good support. Okay, so then here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the backings off of just a couple of these, so maybe these 3 on the bottom, and none of the other ones, and there's a reason for it. I wanna make sure I get this lined up before I stick anything down. So that looks pretty good to me, so I'm gonna lower that. And now those bottom ones are stuck down, but I can just peel this and take the backings off of the rest of them, like so. And I like to use this technique for a few different things. If you saw my shutter card a few weeks ago, I did a technique like this where I just undid the backing for a couple of dimensionals and not all of them, but that way everything is good and lined up. Isn't that cute? And we can double check the back, but everything looks good to me. So then we can go ahead and adhere this down to our card base. So I'm going to use my liquid glue, just because I already put stuff on the front, so it's easier for me to get that liquid glue on here. And then we're gonna center it onto the base, just like that. And then I'm going to flip this over and push down on the back. And in the process, I sent that flying. Okay, so next, we're gonna go ahead, we'll fold that, and then I'm gonna bring my bone folder in, and I'm gonna go underneath here, just getting the bind there. There we go. And now these are black dimensionals, which I'm gonna use later, but I wanna stick a piece under here because it's kind of lifting a little bit. And these are the mini ones. So I'm just sticking that right on there and adhering that down just so it stays a little bit more snug. Okay, so then I've got some evening evergreen cardstock here, and I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss my sentiment. Now, as a reminder, this sentiment that says "Let's Celebrate You" comes from the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set, which is an awesome stamp set, but you could also use a different sentiment if you wanted to, and I'm just stamping that right onto that evening evergreen. And then we're going to heat emboss it in the white embossing powder. So I'm just opening that lid there. I've got my plastic spoon, which I use for all of my embossing, and I'm just dumping that powder on there and then flicking it off. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and heat emboss this, and I will be right back. All right, now it's all heat embossed. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my trimmer, and we're just gonna trim it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna use my snips to cut around it. So I am just lining that up there and just trimming it a bit. There we go. And now I'm gonna use my snips and just kind of trim it down even more, and I'm kind of curving my snips around the letters that stick out. There we go. Doesn't that look nice? And then I'm going to bring in those mini black dimensionals again. And the reason I'm using the black ones here is because Evening Evergreen is a pretty dark cardstock. So I want it to blend in a little bit better. And Stampin' Up! Sells these black dimensionals in a combo pack. So you get, I believe it's 2 of the normal size dimensionals and 2 of the mini dimensionals in one pack, which is pretty awesome. All right, so now I've got that cut out, and I'm gonna go ahead and line it up with the left-hand side of that cardstock and stick it down just like that. And isn't that cute? All right, and there we have it. I'm going to bring in the catalog again so you can see how they look. You have to tell me in the comments below, first of all, if you've ever seen the mountains, as I said before, but second of all, which one you like better. Do you like this one better or this one where it's raised more? Let me know down in the comments, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this card. I had so much fun making it. It's always fun to see inspiration in the catalog and then figure out how to make it. It's super fun, and even that one's really cute. So that one might have to be another one that I try sometime soon, but thank you so much for watching. If you could go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, that really helps me out on YouTube and lets me know that you'd like to continue to see content from me. So I have a blast making these free video tutorials for you, and that's just one way to help me out. Let me know that you want to see more. So also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do go live every Sunday night, and so make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bells, and then come right back here every Sunday to watch me live. I'd love to have you. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.